So one of my favorite things about astrology, and what I think is one of the coolest things, are the north and south nodes. Now, the nodes aren't actually, they're not planets, right? They're more so mathematical points that have to do with the moon's orbit. And when we look at the moon in astrology and also tarot, it represents the inner self, it represents the subconscious, emotions, intuition, okay? The north node is your soul's compass. It's basically pointing you in the direction that your soul wants you to go. It's where the highest evolution of your soul lies, at least in this lifetime anyway, showing you what you're meant to radiate into the world, the traits that you're meant to embody. Whereas when we look back into the past and we look back to our south node, what we're actually looking at is our past life, which is pretty awesome. Like what? It reflects emotional habits and patterns that you've mastered, gifts and talents that you've carried with you from that life into this one. And we also refer to the south node as our comfort zone, because the gifts and the traits that we do have from our past life, these are, things that we're going to be very comfortable with, things that come very naturally to us. And so we're going to want to stay in that area because it feels safe. Whereas our north node wants us to break through that comfort zone and enter new territory, right? But that's very scary at the same time, but that's what's needed for your growth. So when we talk about aligning ourselves with the north node, what we're really talking about is how can I step out of my comfort zone and into my destiny while also honoring my past life gifts. Baddies, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thank you for joining. My name is Sanem and this is That's the Tea on Life, where I spill all the tea on how you can grow up mentally, physically and spiritually so that you can align yourself with the highest version of you, so that you can align yourself with your power and purpose, okay? Here in this channel, I talk a lot about finding your power, healing, self-improvement, confidence, being authentic and real as hell, basically just transforming your life completely. And I also love talking about spirituality, astrology, and honestly anything that's just a little bit, mystical and kind of out there, because that's very much my vibe. So if that sounds like your vibe as well, then hit that subscribe button. If you enjoy this video, give it a little thumbs up action, and send it to someone who you think needs to hear this message today. All right, let's spill the tea. So if you've been watching my videos for a while, you've probably noticed that I kind of steer towards the self-improvement, confidence, healing kind of road. And I love that for me, but I'm also a massive astrology girly. Who knew, right? So I want to start introducing some more astrology videos on this channel. And just a little heads up, I'm not a trained astrologist. Like, I don't study astrology professionally and make money off it. So just a heads up on that. But I'm very passionate about it. I'm like reading up on it and studying my own chart and the transits that are going on at the moment. And I just thought it'd be really fun. So before we go into the natal nodes, before we get personal, let's just zoom out for a quick second, because I want to talk about the collective nodes, because the nodal points aren't just points in your chart. They're literally points in the sky. And obviously, but every 18 months they switch signs. And when the nodes switch signs, this is basically setting the tone for the next 18 months around the lessons that we as a collective, as humanity, are here to experience, are here to learn. Think of it as the background curriculum that is going on. So you yourself have your own personal lessons that have to do with your own personal nodal points in your chart. But behind that, there's this background curriculum, this background lesson going on that has to do with the whole collective experiencing the same lesson. So the sign that's in the north node at the time is teaching us the traits that we're meant to embody, the lessons that we're meant to integrate for our own personal growth and healing. And then when we look at the south node, the zodiac that's in the south node at the time, it's showing us the shadow aspects of that sign and what we're trying to release, how to integrate a healthier version of that sign. Right now, the north node is in Pisces and the south node is in Virgo. So collectively, we're being called away from the shadow aspects of Virgo, which is over controlling, perfectionism, having too much structure and, rigidness, and feeling like we need to constantly do things and be productive and fix things, and, being overly critical about ourselves and about people. We're being called to embody that higher expression of Pisces, more surrender, more compassion, more forgiveness. We're being called to make decisions from our intuition, from our emotions, rather than being so logical and structured all the time. We're being pulled to a more spiritual and creative approach to life, one that requires us to flow. Because Pisces, it's a fish, right? It wants to flow with the river. So what we're seeing come up in the collective and what you might be experiencing as well is feeling very sick and tired of these hyper-structured lifestyles, you know, over-grinding, overworking, that hustle mentality that teaches us to constantly be productive and constantly achieving. And we're seeing old systems of productivity, of order, of rigidness kind of fall apart because people are craving more flow. People are craving more of a spiritual approach to life. We're seeing a lot of awakenings throughout the collective. So the collective consciousness is expanding, it is rising, because people don't want to live in that very cut and copy kind of life anymore. People want more flow, more creativity, more imagination, more of a dreamy, flowy, loving, wonderful kind of that, the vibe that Pisces likes to bring us, okay? So that is what we're being called towards, because that is what is needed for the collective to heal. So how can we work with this personally? Even if you don't have Pisces and Virgo as your nodal points in your own natal chart, then that's fine. Doesn't matter. You're still going to feel these themes coming up for you, especially in the areas of your chart that you have Pisces and Virgo. So for example, I have a Virgo moon in the 5th house and I have a Pisces Jupiter in the 12th house. So because of that moon placement, I need, and because 5th house is associated with joy, with creativity, with play, with pleasure, I need those things to feel emotionally fulfilled and secure and satisfied. If I don't have those things in life, I'm going to be depressed, okay? But Virgo, the shadow aspect of Virgo, unfortunately, is being overly critical, being a perfectionist, having to overthink, having to overanalyze. And for so long, I've been stuck in that pattern, especially when it comes to my creativity. And it's really sucked the joy out of that. So what I'm doing is I'm taking inspiration from my Pisces placement and I'm allowing myself to just flow a lot more, introducing more surrender, more flow into my creative work. It doesn't have to be perfect, just release control, just have fun with it, use my imagination, use what naturally comes up for me, you know, using more of a spiritual healing approach to my creativity, having content themed around those Piscean themes as well, which has always kind of just come more natural to me, I guess, anyway. What I've had to ask myself is, and what you can also ask yourself, is where in my life am I being too rigid, too controlling, too much of a perfectionist? Where in my life can I introduce more flow, more surrender, more peace, more spirituality or more healing energy? Where in my life am I living too much in my head, okay? Am I living too much in my head in general? And what can I do to, you know, center myself, to ground myself, to connect myself with a more healing place? Working with the collective nodes at the time really helps you get into harmony with the, you know, the larger energies at play. Even if you don't have any Pisces or Virgo placements, that's fine. There's a reason why these are the nodal points at the time. It's because these are the themes that you as a human being are meant to look at, to heal, to evolve. So it benefits everyone, okay? Everyone can benefit from releasing control and introducing more flow into their life. Simple. Right, let's zoom back in and let's talk about our personal nodes and how to align with them. I personally am so obsessed with the nodes because they've been so real in my own life. They've been a real source of guidance and understanding myself a lot more and just helping me get onto my path, which is why I think it matters so much, because it actually has improved my life a lot. And I feel like if people need to learn about it, it can really help them as well. So when I first discovered my North Node in Leo in the 5th house, it instantly clicked for me. Everything just made sense. So Leo is associated with confidence, with vitality, with leadership, with courage, with boldness, with charisma. And when we look at the 5th house, which is the house that Leo is at home in, it's the house of joy, of creativity, of self-expression, of play, of pleasure, of romance. It's a very blessed house. But embodying those Leo traits and focusing on the area of life that the fifth house is connected to, those are always things that have come very naturally to me. It's always things that my soul, my body has naturally gravitated towards, in the sense that doing anything else or being anything else just felt very unnatural to me. And that's not to say that it was easy, because it wasn't easy. There was still a lot of fear and discomfort that came with being drawn to that place. But it felt so right. It's like I didn't really have a choice. It's like something bigger than me was like guiding me to this place. And every time I decided to lean into that part of me, life just worked out so well. It just always led me to the right place at the right time. That's why I think aligning with your North Node is really a game changer. So step 1 is to understand the sign and the house that are in your North Node. Think of the sign as the characteristics or the energy that you're meant to embody. And the house is the area of life that your soul wants to focus on. It's the area of life where you're going to experience the most soul lessons. You're going to also experience probably a lot of blocks, a lot of challenges. Now, every zodiac is at home in a certain house, and that's because the life area that's associated with that house is very aligned with the traits of that zodiac, if it makes sense. So if your North Node is in Aries or the first house, you're here to learn about the self. It's about the self identity. It's the house of the self. You're here to learn independence. You're here to learn how to assert yourself, how to take initiative, how to place those boundaries. Your North Node is in Taurus or the second house. You're here to learn about values and how to, build a life of stability, of pleasure, of security that's based around those values. Maybe your North Node is in Gemini or the third house. You are meant to be a teacher. You're meant to be a communicator. You're meant to learn. You're meant to write and, speak, share ideas. Maybe your North Node is in Cancer or it's in the fourth house. So the focus here is about nurturing, embodying that nurturing energy, embodying emotional vulnerability, learning how to express those emotions, share those emotions, how to build an emotional foundation within and a foundation outside of you as well. So let's say, for example, you have Sagittarius in the third house in your North Node. Sagittarius is the philosopher of the zodiac. Sagittarius is very much about knowledge and wisdom and expansion and just intuitive learning. It's very similar to Gemini in that sense. And when you have the third house, you have a house that focuses on communication, writing, speaking. So when you have these two placements and you put them together, you're looking at someone who is here to be a messenger of truth, someone who seeks knowledge and wants to share it among others. So we're looking at someone who's probably some kind of spiritual teacher or guru, someone who is meant to bring big, deep spiritual wisdom down to earth and share it through some kind of art or platform, writing, speaking, teaching, storytelling, okay? So with my North Node placement being in Leo in the fifth house, my fulfillment lies around my creativity, my joy, my self-expression, the pleasure and romance that I experience in life. And I'm doing that in a way that is very bold, that's very courageous, that's very, iconic and divalicious. So step 2 is releasing the South Node patterns. South Node shows you early life behaviors or past life patterns that can actually block your growth. So think of it as, in the aspect of shadow work anyway, think of it as your North Node's evil twin. It's not actually evil, obviously, but for every strength that your North Node holds, your South Node holds its perfect challenge. Think of it as like Superman with kryptonite. So let's say, for example, you have a North Node in Cancer and you have a South Node in Capricorn, right? So your North Node Cancer is calling for you to embrace a nurturing kind of quality. It's calling for you to embody emotional vulnerability, to be more raw and expressive of your emotions, and to embrace more of that softer healing energy for yourself, but most likely for others as well, because I would say that you're meant to be some kind of healer, or you're meant to have some kind of healing impact on people. And when we look at the sign of Capricorn, Capricorn is not an overly emotionally expressive sign. In fact, Capricorn has a lot of trouble with emotional vulnerability. So what you're going to see is these patterns come up of emotional suppression, emotional distance. So the challenge here is being able to embrace that softness, that emotional vulnerability, that nurturing energy, even though it's probably going to be very uncomfortable for you, but also while honoring that strength and resilience and kind of go-getter energy that we see with Capricorn. This is why the South Node is known as the comfort zone. Feels safe, but staying there keeps you stuck. Your soul wants evolution. Your soul wants growth, not stagnation. By staying comfortable in those shadow aspects of Capricorn, by keeping your emotions suppressed, not being able to open up to people, that is going to push you off your path, and you're probably not going to be able to have the right experiences or meet the right people that you would when you really start to align yourself with those softer aspects of Cancer. Okay, so step 3 is seeing the beauty in polarity. Now, this isn't essential when it comes to aligning yourself with your North Node, but I do think it will help you broaden your understanding around things. Every zodiac has its perfect opposite on the zodiac wheel. Zodiac that we see on the opposite side of the wheel, that is its perfect half. That's its yin to the yang kind of situation, the black and white, right? The sun and the moon. It's the duality of things. And it's this way because each zodiac can teach each other things that the other cannot. Each zodiac holds the strength that the other one lacks. So because there is 12 zodiacs, there's 6 polarities altogether. Let's take Aries and Libra, for example. Aries is all about the self. Aries is independent, it's self-focused, it's bold. And Libra is more about the other. It's about relationships. Libra loves to be around people. It's a very diplomatic kind of sign. Rather than being bold and assertive, Libra is very much, wants to take a diplomatic approach and wants to discuss things with the community or with the group. So together they teach the healthy balance between the self and other, leadership and collaboration. And when you apply this to the nodes, it shows you the unity that your soul is striving for, the unique unity that is within your south and north axis. So we're here to learn how to integrate both sides while still leading with that north node edge. Now, it's important to honor that South Node because the South Node isn't bad. It's filled with natural gifts and talents that you're meant to carry with you on your journey in this life and in every life, because you didn't experience those things for nothing, right? Your soul wants you to utilize them, and they're most likely going to be very supportive of you trying to master your North Node traits, your North Node journey. So when I think of the highest expression of Aquarius, because my South Node is in Aquarius, I think of someone who is a very innovative, visionary leader. They're very forward thinking, they're always thinking about the future and how they can expand, right? Expand their thinking, expand the life of others, expand the collective. They're very original, very authentic, they crave authenticity. They have this sense of rebellious edge around them. They're not really about, following the status quo. And they're very much in tune with the needs of the collective. They have a sense of collective wisdom. They know where the collective is going. They know what's best for the collective, right? So I would say that those are my gifts, okay? I'm very authentic. I'm very, unique in my way of thinking. It's very out of the box, but I would say it's a little bit more deeper than most Aquarius because I do have those Sagittarius and Pisces placements. And I hate the status quo. What can I say? I'm here to break the rules, not make them, sis, okay? But my Leo wants that self-expression. My Leo wants that boldness, that charisma, that, oh my God, look at me, I'm amazing kind of energy. And so what I'm going to do here is to alchemize the both of those points is I'm going to use that Aquarian mind, that authentic, innovative, forward-thinking mind to fuel my creativity, my content, the way that I lead others, the way that I lead myself, right? It's my source of inspiration. So I'm leading with that Leo energy of boldness, of being courageous, of being glamorous, of being a diva, but it's being powered by that Aquarian energy. Let's say you have a Scorpio South Node and a Taurus North Node, because that's going to be your axis. Your Taurus North Node wants security, wants stability, wants peace, and wants pleasure, okay? Whereas Scorpio is very deep and transformative and chaotic. But what I think is amazing about Scorpio is that it can just sense the bullshit. It has this like X-ray laser vision, and Scorpio just knows when you're full of BS or not. It has this BS radar basically. So you can honestly utilize that discerning quality of Scorpio to understand what's going to protect your peace and what's going to invade it. So step 5 is to follow the discomfort that feels like growth. Growth is never comfortable. Growing pains are a part of aligning with your North Node. The test is that when something feels scary, intimidating, or like you're faking it, but your soul keeps craving it and pushing you towards it anyway, that is a sign that you're on the right track. For me, showing up on YouTube has been that exact thing. It's been vulnerable, it's been scary, honestly, terrifying sometimes, but it's also been magnetic and soul-fulfilling and soul-healing. Following that discomfort has helped me embody that Leo North Node energy so much more. And the reason why it's been so uncomfortable is because Aquarius, when we think of the shadow aspect of Aquarius, that girlie does not like to be seen. She wants to be authentic, yes, but she also wants to be amongst the group. She would rather hide behind the group. She would rather be the brains behind like the face, I guess you could say, right? And for me, that discomfort, that comfort zone has been kind of keeping myself hidden. That discomfort is around being seen. However, Leo wants to be seen. So do you see how its strength is also its weakness when it comes to the nodes? And so showing up on YouTube has been an excellent way for me to overcome that fear of being seen, to overcome that fear of being imperfect, and to just overall, you know, utilize my gifts more and find myself. Step 6 is to say yes to the soul lessons. The more that you ignore your North Node calling, the harder life is going to be for you, because life will keep pulling you towards that North Node energy, okay, through challenges, through redirection, through losses. And what falls away is often South Node stuff, roles, relationships, a lifestyle, habits, whatever that just no longer serve you. So instead of resisting, ask yourself, what keeps showing up and asking me to grow? Where am I being invited to embody a new version of me? What keeps falling apart in my life that I need to let go of now? Where is this recurring pattern that's making it very obvious that there needs to be a change? With YouTube, I felt so much resistance around it because it literally magnified all my fears around being seen, around being vulnerable, around perfectionism, around my self-worth. But there was a massive part of me that just couldn't let it go, who just felt like she had to get up there in front of the camera and say her thing, say her part, even though there was this other part of me that was like, no, like, let's just not be seen. Let's not, you know, be in front of the camera because that's scary, okay? And let's not speak our truth because that's not safe. And I recognized that I was being called to strengthen my confidence, to strengthen those wounds so that I could, you know, really dissolve those South Node aspects, or those South Node blocks, right? So make sure you say yes to those lessons, say yes to those, you know, death and rebirth moments, because they really are refining you, even though it feels so hard in the moment. The more consistent you are with showing up, with facing your fears, with jumping into, you know, the deepest part of the pool, more you'll be like a phoenix rising from the ashes, bitch. I'm telling you right now, you'll be thankful. Looking back in a few years' time, you'll be so thankful that you pushed yourself into that really uncomfortable thing, or that uncomfortable area of life, or whatever you had to do that you felt a lot of resistance around. You'd be like, you know what, if I didn't do that, I would not have grown into the person I am today. Okay, step 7 is working with transits to your North Node. These are basically like very powerful initiation points. So when we look at the outer planets such as Saturn, Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, these signify deep long-term transformation because these planets take longer to do a transit. So when they do come in contact with your nodal points, it's like a really big thing, right? Whereas when we look at the shorter term planets, or the planets that are closer to the sun, so Venus, the moon, Mercury, Mars, and of course the sun, kind of think of it as like a checkpoint, like a cosmic checkpoint, spring cleaning session. It's a great time to get your priorities straight, have a little ritual going on. It's a great time. So Saturn moves into Aries next year, at the start of next year. It did move into Aries a little bit this year, but now it's back in Pisces, but it will be in Aries for at least, I don't know how, I think it's like 2 years, 2.5 years, something like that, at the start of next year. And as an Aries Saturn in the first house, okay, girl, I'm excited. I'm excited for it. Saturn return, she's coming, she's here. I probably will make another video on doing a Saturn's return because it's honestly a big deal. But let's just stay on topic, okay? So for my Aries North Noders, when Saturn comes in contact with your sign, what this is asking of you is self-responsibility, okay? Because Saturn is the planet of responsibility, of karma, of discipline, of structure. And so what Saturn is wanting you to do is to apply those things, apply that structure, apply that discipline, apply that responsibility to the traits associated with Aries, with your North Node. Basically, Saturn is asking you to take responsibility for your destiny, okay? And to take responsibility for dissolving those shadow aspects that are around your South Node, which in this case would be Libra. Saturn is like, okay, girl, are you going to stop the people pleasing? And are you going to start asserting yourself and placing boundaries and doing what's best for you? Because this is what is required of you to fulfill your destiny. And if you don't do it, then I'm sorry, sis, but I'm gonna have to keep sending you lessons because my name is Karma, okay? And honey, I'm ruled by Saturn, so don't even get me started. So back in August, we had Leo season, and I was being very called to do a lot of work around my North Node because I only have Leo, my North Node, I don't have any other Leo placements, but for some reason I felt really called to do a lot of work around Lionsgate and blah, blah, blah. So, which is actually what inspired this video. Seeing as the sun was touching on my nodal point, which isn't a rare occurrence, okay, it obviously happens every single year, but when we think of the sun, we think of identity, okay? We think of the self. So what the sun is asking of me when it comes to my North Node is, okay, it's like a cosmic checkpoint in the sense of, okay, this is your destiny, this is who you are, this is who you're becoming, this is everything that you've done to align with your destiny so far, and this is everything you have left to do, basically. That's how I like to see it. Step 8, just to sum it all up, is creating a life that aligns with your North Node, okay, to put it plain and simple. At the end of the day, alignment means building a life that mirrors or that is based around your soul's purpose. So when you look at your life, everything that it's reflecting back to you is your soul's purpose, is what you're here to do in some way, shape or form. Whether that's your job, or the way that you make your money, your art, your creativity, the people that you hang around, the environment that you're in, these should all be in some way aligning with your North Node. And if it doesn't align exactly, that's okay. You're in the process of alignment. Remember, it's the journey, not the destination. But next time you're going about your daily life, or you're doing something, or you're hanging out with people, whatever, I want you to ask yourself, does this part of my life reflect my North Node? Try and look for the reflection in that part of your life, okay? Does this version of me reflect my North Node? Do my habits, my people, my home, my art, my whatever I'm doing, the media that I'm consuming, the way that I'm speaking, my behavior, my beliefs, do these align with that version of me, with that highest version of me? Where in my life am I still living in my comfort zone? Where in my life am I resisting? It helps to research your South Node and to have a look at those shadow aspects to see if those are things that are actually coming up in your life. Your soul's purpose is evolution. Your soul just wants to evolve more so than it did in its previous life. So all the lessons that we face, all the hardships that we face in this life, I like to believe that, you know, our soul chose those things because it knew that in some way we could handle it, or it was required of us to evolve on a soul level, okay? Because if we repeat the same life experiences, we don't really expand, we don't really grow, so our soul just wants to get more evolved each time. So for me, aligning myself with my Leo North Node looks like making creativity and passion and joy the #1 priority in my life. Choosing to live my life from a place of passion rather than logic. Allowing myself to be seen, allowing myself to take up space and not feeling sorry about that. Making my life look and feel like art. Building relationships and habits that support my confidence, my joy, my creativity. So what I like to do is I like to think of the highest expression of Leo as a woman personified, and then I step into that personified woman, okay? But in a way that's naturally me. I embody that in a way that is very, very much me. So when I think of Leo being courageous and bold, I'm making sure that I'm speaking my truth even when it's scary. I'm speaking my truth in a way that's very bold, very unapologetic, and I'm not afraid to, well, I am, it's scary sometimes, but I do it anyway. I'm speaking my mind, I'm speaking on what I believe in, what I need, what I think is right. Leo is very regal and proud. It's associated with royalty. So I'm always reflecting on the parts of me and, you know, the things that I've gone through that make me proud to be who I am today. And I embody that energy. I wear that energy wherever I go. Think about the trait of leadership. I'm thinking about pushing myself into roles where I'm taking the lead, or I guess you could say, how am I leading in my own life, and how am I doing that in a way that is very courageous and bold and unapologetic, and how can I be that person of support, of guidance, of leadership for the people I care about when they need me. Then Leo, of course, is confident, okay? She's a diva. She is very much, she gives me yes and energy. So I really embody those traits, and I really allow my personality to shine through that. Even though it's probably quirky and unconventional to some, I know that it's what makes me shine, it's what makes me stand out. Again, it's about owning those things unapologetically, because Leo is a very proud sign. So that is how I reflect my Leo North Node energy in my everyday life. So just to sum it all up, the nodes are one of the most clearest and powerful tools that we can use in astrology that can help us understand our destiny, our purpose, and also who we were in a past life. The North Node is your compass, your South Node is your toolkit, and together they make up your soul map. But the question is, are you ready to follow it? Okay guys, that is the tea spilled. I hope you enjoyed this video, and honestly, you know what? Drop me a little comment. Let me know what your North Node house and sign are, and let me know what your experience is with working around it. If you have any questions, I would love to know. And if you would love to see more astrology videos, then let me know, because I'm kind of just like testing at the moment, testing different, you know, areas or different niches, I guess you could say, that I really enjoy, that I'm passionate about. I don't want to box myself into like one niche. So for example, like self-improvement, I want to expand a little bit, but I'm very passionate about astrology. Like I said, I'm not a professional, but I feel like I've learned enough at this point to share what I know in a lighthearted sense. So if you have any questions around that, and if you'd like to see more, hit me up, girl. Leave a comment. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you'd like to see more magical content like this one. Okay, see you guys next time. Bye.